Good afternoon, everyone, all the students. So, myself, Gurraj P. Ashrit, chemistry lecturer in Angadi Institute of College of Science and Commerce. So, today here I am dealing with the CET and NEET crash course with all the first year and second PUC chapters. And in that first chapter, I am dealing with the surface chemistry, which comes under physical chemistry part. Okay. So, all of you know that surface chemistry deals with the physical chemistry, but there are no problems in this one. Theoretical part we are dealing with this chapter is easy, but in the NEET and CET we are getting 2 to 3 questions from this chapter. Okay, so before starting I want to tell you that introduction to surface chemistry. What do you mean by surface chemistry? First you can understand. See, whatever the environment reactions we are seeing in the daily life, it all deals with the surface phenomena. For example, rusting of iron. When you see the iron get rusted with the help of oxygen and water, this all reactions happens on the surface of the iron. This is the one example. Second one, whatever the acids when they adsorb on the indicators, that example can also be taken as the example is adsorption of indicators. Whatever the indicators we are using, that is also taken as the example for surface phenomena. Hence we can define this branch as the branch of chemistry which deals with the surface and its phenomena is called as a surface chemistry. So from this 2 to 3 questions we are getting. So starting, we start with the synopsis. We should know the definition of adsorption first. As you know that the accumulation of the adsorbate molecules on the surface of adsorbent is called as a adsorption. Here we deal with the different types of definitions. So after the adsorption we go for absorption, the process in which the molecules penetrate inside the bulk of the substance is called as a absorption. These are the basic definition we are learning. Third definition is sorption. What do you mean by sorption? The process in which the adsorbate molecules are removed from the surface of adsorbent is called as a sorption. Okay, and desorption. Desorption takes place at high temperature. Okay, so now we go for the classification of adsorption. There are two types of adsorption. First one is physical adsorption, second one is chemical adsorption. So directly I started this concept because one question at least they will ask on the basis of physical and chemical adsorption. Okay, so what do you mean by physical adsorption? The process in which the adsorbate molecules are held on the surface of the solid or liquid with weak van der Waals force of attraction is called as a physical adsorption. And what do you mean by chemical adsorption? Chemical adsorption is the process in which the adsorbate molecules are held on the surface of the adsorbent with the strong covalent forces of attraction. Hence, this physical adsorption is considered as a weak adsorption and chemical adsorption is considered as a strong adsorption. Okay. Next we move to the second page. So here we can see the differences between physical and chemical adsorption. First difference I told, that is you have to define in the terms of force of attraction. So it is a weak van der Waals force of attraction. The second difference you are seeing, that is called as, it is non-specific. Specific means you know that particularity means there is no need to be adsorbate like this and adsorbent like this. Any adsorbent can adsorb on the any adsorbent. Okay, so due to this one it is called as a non-specific in nature. And third one, it is reversible. You know that it is the weakest force of attraction on the surface of solid if the adsorbate molecules are adsorbed, so easily we can remove this back, that is called as a desorption. Hence we can do that reverse, hence it is reversible. And the fourth difference is the amount of gas depends upon the nature of the gas. As you know that adsorbate may be solid, liquid or a gas, and if it is a gas, the conditions applied for the gas adsorbate is it is easily liquefiable. Liquefiable means what? They can be converted easily to the liquid state. For example, NH3CO2 and SO2 gas, all the examples. And you should remember that easily liquefiable gases depends upon the molar mass. If the molar mass is higher, then they are highly liquefiable. Okay, so like this, H2 and He gas are there. Their molecular mass is 2, its molecular mass is 4. They cannot be easily liquefiable, hence they cannot adsorb easily. Okay, next one, the extent of adsorption increases with increase in temperature. So what you mean by this one means, you should remember from the previous CET papers or NEET papers, if you see, the adsorption depends upon the temperature and pressure condition. Okay, so physical adsorption decreases if temperature is increased, and the chemical adsorption increases, then it goes on decreasing. So that is the main point. Now we move to the next page, that is about a chemical adsorption. Sorry, another one difference, there are weak van der Waals forces of attraction, as I already told. Next one is it has a low enthalpy of adsorption. The value is given 20 to 40 kilojoule per mole. See, the adsorption process depends entirely on thermodynamics concept, and in thermodynamics we come across a word that is called as a enthalpy. Therefore, whenever the heat is liberated, that enthalpy of adsorption is very low in case of physical adsorption, that is 20 to 40. Next one is low temperature is favorable. As I already told, physical adsorption always favors a low temperature and a high pressure. Next one is no appreciable activation energy is needed. Means we know that if the catalyst is added, activation energy decreases. Here also in physical adsorption, activation energy is not required. Okay, it forms a multimolecular layers. Multimolecular layers means what? The adsorbate molecules, when they adsorb on the adsorbent, no such force, no strong force of attraction. So another adsorbate molecules can adsorb on that layer, this layer, continuously it goes on. Hence it can form the multimolecular layers. Okay. Now we move towards the chemical adsorption. If the forces holding the adsorbate are as strong as in chemical bonds, the adsorption process is called as a chemical adsorption. As already discussed, it is highly specific. There what I told, it is not so much specific. It is high specific, means it require adsorbate and adsorbent should be a particular. Means one adsorbate, for example, consider chlorine gas. If it is adsorbing on the charcoal, it cannot adsorb on the bench or a desk. Hence it is highly specific. It is irreversible. The forces are strong, hence we cannot reverse that. Hence it is irreversible. Next one is the amount of gas adsorbed is not related to critical temperature. So critical temperature means what? The maximum temperature where we can convert the gases into liquid is called as a critical temperature. So there is no requirement for the chemical adsorption. It also increases with increase in surface area. As we know that D block elements which are used as a catalyst, they are having a large surface area, and when we are having a large surface area, adsorption of a molecules becomes more. Hence it also increases with increase in surface area. Next one, there is a strong force of attraction similar to chemical bond. As I already discussed same point, it has enthalpy of heat of adsorption. So already as I discussed, delta ADSH, that is enthalpy of adsorption, required is more, nearly 180 to 240 kilojoule per mole. Next one is high temperature is favorable. See, chemical adsorption bonds are strong. To make the bonds strong, we require temperature more. Hence, the temperature is favorable, but after certain time, the low temperature is favored for the chemical adsorption. Next one is high activation energy is needed, but not regularly. It is required only sometimes depending upon the adsorbate and adsorbent. And the last difference is it forms a unimolecular layer. See, the adsorbent is particular, adsorbate is particular, therefore they are having only a single layer, hence it forms a unimolecular layer. Okay. It also increases with increase in surface area. Next page. Factors affecting the adsorption of gases on solids. See, already we know that adsorbent can be solid, adsorbent can be liquid, but not a gas. But adsorbents may be solid, liquid, or a gas. So, which factor will decide the adsorption is more or less? That I am discussing. So, first factor you are seeing, that is the nature of adsorbate. If I consider the chlorine gas here, what it should be the nature, what its nature should be. If it is gas, they should be highly liquefiable, and liquefiable depends upon the critical temperature, and critical temperature depends upon the molecular mass. If I consider four gases, O2, H2, He, NS3. If I consider these four gases, which will be favorable means that is called as either O2 or either NS3. The reason is that they can be easily liquefiable. They are having the high molecular mass. O2 is having the molecular mass of 32, H2 is having 2, helium 4, and ammonia is 17. So depends upon the molecular mass, the adsorbate should be there. And if it is a liquid, what should be its eligibility means? It should have a high concentration. And what do you mean by concentration? The solute particle should be more and solvent particle should be less. If concentration is high, adsorption will be more. And if it is a solid, what is the eligibility means? They should be finely powdered and should have a large surface area. Okay. Next one, we move towards the second point, nature of adsorbent. So now we discussed adsorbate. Adsorbent is either solid or a liquid. So only one point you can remember. If it is a solid, it should be finely powdered and it should have a large surface area. Okay. Next, specific area of the adsorbent. I already discussed here. Specific area or surface area should be more. And last one is the pressure of the gas. See, pressure of the gas, why it is important factor means you can understand here. Now consider the charcoal powder, animal charcoal in the beaker. Okay. If I am taking the animal charcoal in the beaker and I am absorbing the chlorine gas on that, okay, that time is telling about the pressure. Pressure means I am using the piston to compress the molecules of the gas. When you apply the external pressure high, that time the molecules come closer and they will adsorb on the surface easily. Therefore, high pressure is favorable for the adsorption. Okay. So any four factors I have discussed here, you can see that. And next I move towards the adsorption isotherm. As you know that in CET in crash course, we cannot continually tell about the synopsis more. So we'll solve the questions also, and in middle of the questions I will go to that concept. So briefly today's introduction class I am telling about the synopsis. As you know that Freundlich adsorption isotherm, remember the equation. We know that x by m is directly proportional to P, where x is called as the amount of adsorbate and m is called as a mass of the adsorbent, and x by m is called as the extent of adsorption, which is always directly proportional to pressure. If pressure goes on increasing, the x by m goes on increasing. Okay, and based on this equation we can derive the Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Remove the proportionality sign. X by m is equal to k into p raised to 1 by n. Okay, here the two new words we are dealing with, that is called as a k, which is called as a constant. If you draw the graph, it comes as a log k, which is considered as an intercept, and p raised to 1 by n, where n is the integer from 0 to 1. Based on this, it is a Freundlich adsorption isotherm. Okay, so briefly I discussed about the adsorption, physical, chemical, and adsorption isotherm. And whenever I go to questions, I will come to the catalyst as well as the colloids also. Okay, so just we'll move towards some of the questions. Okay. Okay, now you are seeing the questions. It is mixed with all the concepts. It may be adsorption, it may be catalysis, or it may be colloidal nature. And you should remember that maximum questions come on the colloids because it is the largest unit, subunit in compared to this one. So just we go for first question. Which among the following statement is false? Means they have given the four statements. In that you have to identify the false statement. Okay. The adsorption may be monolayer or multi-layered. See, we discussed physical and chemical adsorption. Physical is multi and chemical is uni. So therefore, the adsorption may be mono or multi. Particle size of the adsorbent will not affect on the amount of adsorption. Means he is telling that, well, if the particle size is small or large, whether it affect the adsorption or what. Increase of pressure increases the amount of adsorption. Means if you increase the pressure, whether the adsorption increases or no. Increase of temperature may decrease the amount of adsorption. So he is telling that if you increase the temperature, adsorption will decrease. I think you understand all the concept. Very simple concept here it is. So we can go for the answer. Which one means? First one is correct, third one is correct, fourth one is correct. Therefore, the option B, that is called as particle size of the adsorbent will not affect the amount of adsorption, is a false statement. Now we go for next we move towards the second question, which is related to colloid. Okay, so first I will tell briefly about the colloid, then we go for the question. Okay, so colloids are the heterogeneous mixture which consist of two phase. It may be solid, liquid, or the gas. So in that, which subtopic is asking the question? The colloids classification. We know that colloids are classified into many types, but these colloids, depending upon the particle size, they have classified. First one is multimolecular colloid, second one is macromolecular colloid, third one is associated colloid. First I tell briefly about that, then we can move towards the question. Macromolecular colloid means whatever the particles are there, they are having the large size, and when they aggregate and accumulate, they will form the macromolecular colloid. Okay, for example, all the carbohydrates, starch, proteins, they come under the macro, or the synthetic polymers like nylon, everything will come under macro. And what do you mean by multi? Multi means particle size may be anything, but they are present in a large quantity. That type of colloids are called as a multimolecular colloids. Okay, and last one, what do you mean by associated colloid means? See, colloids are different, electrolytes are different up to certain temperature. If the substance is electrolyte, and after certain temperature if it convert into colloid, that type of colloids are called as associated, and that temperature is called as a critical temperature, and it is also called as a critical missile concentration, CMC. Okay, so based on this one we discuss here which type of colloid is the dissolution of sulfur acid. We know that acid sulfur is a octatomic, so that type of sulfur, when it dissolved in the water, whether it forms a which type of colloid, either multi, macro, or associated. They have given the question: associated colloid, missile, multimolecular colloid, and macromolecular colloid. So all of you know that missile means what? Soaps and detergents, which contains ions. Okay, sodium stearate, sodium laurate, like that. Associated means I told electrolyte, then colloid. And next one I told macromolecular, large substances. Multimolecular means what? The small but present in the large quantity. So what will be the answer? I think you have guessed that the correct answer for this one is, that is multimolecular colloid. Okay, why it is multimolecular colloid means it is having the more large number of quantity, therefore the answer is C. Okay, next. So next one, again we have discussed synopsis, chemisorption. So chemisorption is, what is the question? C. Only chemisorption, options are given: increases with temperature, decreases with temperature, remains unaffected by the change of temperature, either increase or decrease with temperature. So already I told chemical adsorption require a high temperature, but after a certain time it require a low temperature. So which options will be correct? Means not only increase correct, not only decrease is correct, remains unaffected is completely wrong. Either increase or decrease with temperature is called as a chemical adsorption, and the answer D is correct for this question. If they ask physical adsorption, that time you have to go with the option B, that is decreases with the temperature. Okay. Next question. For the adsorption of a gas on a solid, the plot of log x by m versus log p is linear with a slope equal to. So already I was discussing the Freundlich adsorption isotherm. I am having the equation x by m is equal to k into p raised to 1 by n. If you apply log on both sides, what happens here? Log x by m is equal to log of k plus 1 by n log of p. And this equation is similar to the mass straight line equation y is equal to mx plus c. Therefore, based on this, if you plot the graph here, you can see here this is called as a log P, that is called as a pressure, and this is log x by m extent of adsorption. And when you draw the graph, that time this intercept is nothing but called as a log k, and this slope will be 1 by n. So based on this one, you can answer the question. For the adsorption of a gas on a solid, the plot of log x by m versus log p is linear with slope equal to k, log of k, n and 1 by n. So the answer is D, that is called as 1 by n, which is called as a slope, and log of k is called as an intercept. Okay. Next question. Gold number of productive colloids A, B, C, D. Four substances they have given, four colloids. The names are given as A, B, C, D. He has given the values 0.5, 0.01, zero 0.1 and 0.005 respectively. The correct order of their productive powers is. So first we understand the concept, then we go for the gold number. So already we know that gold number is used for the protective power of the colloids. We know that, okay, and gold number decides the coagulation power also. Okay, so now A, B, C, D four values are given: 0 0.5, 0 0.01, 0 0.1, 0 0.005. Four values are there. According to mathematics, which is a lower number, which is a higher number, we know that this is a very low number, then this is the next one, then this one 0.1, then we go for 0.5. So which is lower, which is higher, you know. But what is the concept here? Gold number is inversely proportional to the protective power. Means what is the concept there? If gold number increases, protective power decreases. Means in above all the four solution, whose value is less, that will have the more protective power. Hence, whichever the low value is there, you have to keep it as a first one. So what is that? D is having the lower value, hence it comes as the first one. In this you have to search where is the D. Here D option is there, but D is less than A. Here B is less than D, and here all the options are given. So our correct answer is C, where A less than C less than B and less than D. This will be the option. Okay. So next, which of the following statement is correct for the spontaneous adsorption of the gas? Spontaneous adsorption. Already in thermodynamics we know the process which will take place without aid or help of something, that is called as a spontaneous process. Here adsorption is also a spontaneous process. So in this they have given the enthalpy and entropy values. So based on that we have to answer the question. So first I will tell about that. What is What is that enthalpy, entropy, and how it is related? See, consider the adsorbent. These are the adsorbate molecules. If the adsorbate molecules are adsorbing on the surface, we have to think of three factors: delta H, delta S, and delta G. According to thermodynamics, if the reaction should be spontaneous, delta S should be negative, delta S should be positive, and delta G should be negative. According to Gibbs equation, delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Therefore, we have to think of all these values, whether adsorption is this one. When all the adsorbate molecules come and adsorb, they are depositing and making a new bonds, strong bonds. And according to thermodynamics, if the bond is associated, enthalpy will be negative, exothermic. If the bonds are dissociated, enthalpy is endothermic, that is positive. So new bonds are forming, hence delta H is negative. So first option according to spontaneity, it is correct. Next one is delta S. Delta S means entropy, that is a measurement of disorderness or randomness. We know that. Here all the molecules are accumulating and sitting in one place means disorderness is low. And if it is low, the delta S value is also negative. Okay. But according to spontaneous thermodynamics, delta S should be positive. And when it happens like this, you should think of the Gibbs equation, that is called as a temperature. Based on that temperature, we can see that delta G will be negative at high temperature and delta H should be having the high negative value. Therefore, four options are given. Delta S is negative, correct. Delta H should be highly positive. So option wrong, because delta H is positive there. Delta S negative is correct. Therefore, delta H should be highly negative, correct. Delta S is positive, wrong. Therefore, delta S should be negative, it is correct, delta H. Delta S is positive, wrong. Therefore, delta H should also be highly positive, this is wrong. So answer for this one is delta S is negative and delta H should be highly negative according to the mechanism of adsorption. Okay. So this question is related to mechanism of adsorption. Next question, the dispersed phase and dispersion medium of a fog. So now again I will move towards the classification. In Collard's classification, based on the affinity, some classification is there. Based on the phases, some classification is there. So we are having two classification, dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Okay. So dispersed phase means discontinuous movement present in less quantity. Dispersion medium means present in large quantity and it will be continuously moving. So if you go for three things, solid, if you go for three matters, that is solid, liquid and gases, we can do the permutation combination by mixing them. We will get 9 types. How means? Solid solid, solid liquid, solid gas, liquid liquid, liquid solid, liquid gas, gas solid, gas liquid, gas gas, like 9 types. But one will be there, that is G plus G, gas and gas, which will not come under the colloids because it is homogeneous in nature. So there are 8 types. In that, dispersed phase means less quantity, dispersion medium means high quantity. For example, one or two I will tell. If solid is less, liquid is more, it is called as a gel. If liquid is less and solid is more, it is called as a sol. Like that, we are having compounds. Liquid plus liquid is called as an emulsion. Like that, we are now discussing about fog. Fog is the one example of the colloids, that is called as a mist also. In this, which one is correct? Dispersed phase and dispersion medium means the first part should be dP, second part should be dm, which in fog we know that liquid and gas is present. But which one is dP, which one is dmc? Solid liquid wrong, liquid liquid wrong, liquid gas correct, gas liquid is correct. But in these two options, which is more, which is less, we have to think. So therefore the answer is gas and liquid, that is gas is dP and liquid is a dispersion medium. Okay. So next, the amount of electrolytes required to coagulate a given amount of AgI colloidal solution, negative charge, will be in the order. So this concept is related to coagulation value, flocculation value, okay? And briefly I will tell that because time is very too much short. So what is the process there? If the coagulation value is less, the charge of the ion will be more according to Hardy-Schulz rule. Based on these two concepts, we can identify which will coagulate, which will not coagulate. And another one thing, you should know the charge of the compound. In some question paper in bracket they will give the charges, it will become easy for you. In some questions they will not give the charges, that time you have to remember the examples of negative and positive charge colloids. Okay, so AgI is a negative, means it is surrounded by I minus ions. So whatever the options they have given, you should think only about the positive ions, because oppositely charged ions. In there two things, coagulation value will be less, charge of ion should be more. So if I dissociate all these ions, I will go on telling continuously. You should remember NaNO3, if you break Na plus NO3 minus. If you break Al2NO3, 2Al3 plus and 3NO3 3 minus. And if you dissociate this one, Ba2 plus and NO3 minus 1. Therefore, I will write the charges on this one: Na plus 1, NO3 minus 1, Al3 plus or plus 3, NO3 is minus 1, Ba2 plus, NO3 is minus 1. In all these three options, which positive charge is more, that will be the correct answer. But here we have to arrange them in the decreasing order. So Al2 should come first, Ba should come second, and Na should come third. 3, 2, 1. So see all the four options. You can understand which will be the correct answer. C. Al2NO3 thrice first place, BaNO3 thrice twice second place, NONO3 third place. Therefore, the correct option for this one is D. Remember that point, you can solve easily. If they give positive charge colloid, go for the negative types. And here these options are not suitable for the negative positive charge, because all are having the NO3 minus, only the positive ions are different. Okay. Next question we'll move. So what is that? Let's see. The addition of the catalyst during a chemical reaction alters which of the following quantities? So this comes under the subtopic that is called as a catalyst catalysis. We know that catalyst is a substance which is required for the reaction, does not interfere in the reaction, but either it may increase or decrease the rate of the reaction. Okay. So what now he is asking, in the chemical reaction, when you add catalyst, which quantity it may alter, that we have to understand. As I told, 99% the catalyst will not alter anyone, but after the options you can see enthalpy, no change in enthalpy. Before adding catalyst also same enthalpy, after also it will be same. Activation energy, let's wait. Entropy, no change. Internal energy, no change. Internal energy means the energy which is present in the substance. Entropy, measurement of disorder. Enthalpy means heat content. And activation energy, we know that we are using the word activation energy, that is called as the EA. If you plot the graph, we are having a graph like this, two graphs, and we can consider it as a EA1, and this one is called as a EA2. If the graph is this much large, then no catalyst. If the graph is somewhat less, it is having a catalyst which decreases the activation energy. Hence, the answer which alters the factor, that is called as a activation energy. Okay. Next question. Which property of colloidal solution is independent of the charge on the colloidal particles? We know that electrolytes like salt, either they have positive or negative mixed, and according to Arrhenius theory they are neutral. But when you come to colloids, they are not a neutral. Either they may be positive or they may be negative. So based on that charge concept, we have to discuss here which property of the colloids is independent. Independent means what? That property should not depend on the charge. There are many properties of a colloids: optical property, mechanical property, electrical property, like Tyndall effect, Brownian motion, electrophoresis, etc., etc. So which is independent, we have to see. First one is coagulation. As I already told, in coagulation, the larger the charge of the ion, higher is the coagulation. It depends upon the charge. 1 second. Okay. Coagulation, which depends upon the charge. Second one is electrophoresis. You know that we are taking a U-shaped tube, keeping two electrodes, and when you pass the electric current, the colloidal particle will move towards the opposite electrode. That depends upon the charge. And electroosmosis, what happens? The concentration from higher to lower it will go, and that concentration depends upon the charge of the particle. If the charge of the particles are neutral, it will allow to flow. If it is not a neutral, it will not allow to flow through the semi-permeable membrane. And last one is called as a Tyndall effect. We know that Tyndall effect means the scattering of a light, and in that there is no depending on the charge of the particles, because when you take the colloidal solution and pass the source, monochromatic source of a light, that time the scattering takes place, and due to that we observe the Tyndall cone or a Tyndall beam. Okay, so we completed this question, in this which colloid, catalyst, everything is mixed in this one. So next again we move towards very few questions in the next session. Okay, so this is all about surface chemistry. Thank you.